with this Michigan State team, they're top 10 in the country in 3-point shooting. They're still good on the boards, but the shooting's been something that kind of jumps out. When you look at them, is there one area that concerns you more than the other, or sort of what stands out to you?
That they pretty good defensively. They get up in you and they really make you have to work to score the basketball. And that's everybody, all five guys that are on the floor kind of on a string from a defensive standpoint. And offensively, they're pretty good. I mean, they have had their struggles here as of late. But, some of the games that I've watched, I know the Wisconsin game, was kind of back and forth, and Wisconsin kind of got out, but they made a run late. I just think they're a solid team. I mean, Izzo's always had good teams, on both ends of the floor, and I don't see anything differently. I mean, they compete, man. They play hard. That's a big part of it.
Tom Brew.
Mike, prior to Tuesday night, you guys hadn't lost back-to-back games all year. As you head into this game on Saturday now, do you feel any more sense of urgency, or is it still just a matter of one game at a time and just taking Saturday as it is?
Well, it's still one game at a time. I mean, I can't look ahead. We got 7 games left. We can basically control our own destiny. I mean, we gotta win out. It's kind of how I look at it. Starting at Michigan State, and they've had, like I said, I think lost their last few games. They've had their struggles as well, but again, I think our team can beat any team in the Big Ten if we commit ourselves. I mean, the Big Ten has kind of shown that this season, that anybody can beat anybody. So we just got to be committed for 40 minutes. Michigan State is going to force you to have to play them for 40 minutes in order to beat them.
Alex Bozich.
Hey, Mike, thanks for the time. I'm curious if you're happy in general with the amount of 3-point field goals you guys are attempting in each game, and if there's anything you can maybe do schematically to get more threes. I know you've talked in the past, about the importance of just the 3-ball in general in basketball today, and you guys have only made, I think, 7 over the last 2 games.
I just like to make the threes that we're taking. I'm not, it's not how many you take, it's how many you make. And, we had some good looks the other night against Northwestern. I thought Anthony had some good looks. Miller had some good, we just didn't knock them down. We got to make them.
Kevin.
Yeah, Coach, I'm just curious about, the return of the players. Do you sense that they got the message in practice and how they worked? And does what happened at Northwestern make you think about the starting lineup as well, particularly how Trey played?
Well, again, I'll make a decision in terms of where I go with our starting lineup. But I thought yesterday's practice was a good practice considering, what had happened at Northwestern, because I just wasn't very pleased, very disappointed. But I thought yesterday coming back, guys were back on the floor working, and I thought we had a very productive practice.
Mike Schumann.
Yeah, hey, Coach, generally speaking, how do you go about assigning game planning duties amongst your assistant coaches? Is it just a rotation? Is there strategy? And specifically for this one, is it Dane Fife? And what do you think he brings to the scout for Michigan State?
Well, in the past, even when I was in the NBA with all my coaches that worked around me, we would break the season down, and we haven't, we've done the same thing here. Dane and Ya and Kenyon both, they split games, and, if it's 30 games, each one of them will have 10 games apiece. And yes, this is Dane's scout. I mean, it has to be a scout. How he spent, most of his time coaching at Michigan State. So what better person would know, Izzo and his thinking and the players that he coached here in the past years. So yes, it's his scout. and we will rely on, some of the things that he tells us. But again, we all watch film and come to a conclusion on how we want to play on both ends of the floor. And we're still trying to work on finishing the game plan as we speak.
Alec,
Hey, Coach, when you look at Michigan State's backcourt, obviously some up and down play this season, but with those point guards, what is concerning for your defense about their ability to kind of create off of the dribble and get in the paint?
Well, Tyson and Max, Max is a young freshman that's very lively, that knows how to play, man. He's not your typical freshman. It's kind of how I look at it. He's long and rangy and athletic, and that can put it down and shoot it as well. The thing about their offense is, they put so much heat on you when you score. They try to get it in as quick as possible, and then they pushing it back at you. So, we really got to focus in on getting back, in transition, and make sure we're matching to the point where they're not just, running it up our back. So that's going to be a big key. But they are talented out front. But, again, we've played a lot of talented guards. We just got to continue to, the defense hadn't really been the problem for us. Offensively, we've had our struggles in terms of making the long ball and just completing offensive plays over a course of a 40-minute game. We've had good halves, bad halves. We've put 2 good halves together. It's kind of been a roller coaster ride in that regard, but we're going to have to find some offense, and our defense has got to stay consistent if we're going to beat Michigan State.
Dustin,
Guess kind of sticking with that theme, but on the flip side of that question, I mean, what they've obviously got some bigger guys that can shoot. Gabe Brown, Joey Hauser. I guess what makes that? How does that add to the sort of the difficulty of the fact that they've got a lot of big guys that can shoot the ball, and they generally put 2-3 guys out there that can make threes?
Well, we're going to have to, even in their pick and roll, our pick and roll coverages, we got to be sharp in what we're doing. When that ball's thrown back, we got to make sure that we're getting back to shooters. And in our schemes, when we're switching and things of that nature, you're going to have to switch up and make sure that we're not giving these guys their shots where they're comfortable in making threes. I mean, we've done a pretty good job in defending the 3-point line, and knowing that we're going to have to do a hell of a job against this team, because they do put up a lot of threes and they make them.
last question, Jeff.
Hey, Coach. Yeah, I just wanted to follow up. You mentioned starting lineup. With the way Trey Galloway played at Northwestern, is he pushing for a chance to start maybe moving forward? And what do you think of his play so far this season?
He's been fantastic. And I mean, coming off the bench, he's been great. The other night, I thought the first time he got a crack to start, he was phenomenal the whole game. So, it's a thought. We'll have to make that decision after today's practice and see where we are. But he's definitely played well enough to be in the lineup.